This is The Scoop for Tuesday.
I'm Sean Kanahan with the WMNF News headlines. More details have been released about the death of former All-Pro NFL running back Doug Martin. Police said yesterday that he died after a struggle with police officers who were taking him into custody while they were investigating a break-in at a home in Oakland. Martin is best known for his stellar career with the Tampa Bay Bucs. According to a statement released by the Oakland Police Department, he became unresponsive after being arrested early Saturday. He was transported by paramedics to a hospital where he died, police said. A cause of death has not been released. The Alameda County Coroner's Office said an autopsy will be conducted. In a statement, police said that Martin was involved in a break-in and that a brief struggle happened as police were attempting to detain him. The department did not release any other details about his death, which is being investigated by several agencies. More than 500 non-native species have been reported in Florida, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. WMNF's Chris Young reports the FWC stood before a state Senate subcommittee this month to justify a non-native species control budget that has almost doubled since 2022.
Invasive species are non-native animals that can cause harm to the environment. In Florida, that includes lionfish, Burmese pythons, chameleons, and more. Now, the FWC plans for almost $6.3 million to control the species for the 2025-26 year, a sharp jump from the $3.4 million in 2021-22. When asked, FWC Conservation Officer George Worthen says that once non-native species get a foothold in the state, they have to shift to more costly measures to control them.
So as we have more of these species that we talk about going into management, like the wild hog and like iguanas have really reached for us now, it becomes much, much more expensive than the prevention.
Efforts include an app to report species, competitions to remove pythons and lionfish, as well as partnerships with the University of Florida and the University of Central Florida to track pythons.
Finding pythons is very, very difficult, and I think we're going to have to find non-human interactions, AI traps, and things that we hear that are working out there are probably going to be some of our biggest helpers in the future.
Worthen suggests that eradicating animals like the wild hog and Burmese python may not ever be a reality, despite the efforts of wildlife managers. Chris Young, WMNF News.
The Center for Biological Diversity is suing the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for failing to protect the habitats of an endangered bird species that can be found off Florida's shores. WMNF's Zoe Sachs has more.
Black-capped petrels are oceanic seabirds that forage in the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. They spend most of their lives on the open ocean and travel hundreds of miles in search of food. Black-capped petrels and their habitats are in danger because of things like oil spills, commercial fishing, offshore oil and gas extraction, and invasive species. Their nesting sites have now decreased to 4. Mark Petronella is a staff attorney at the Center for Biological Diversity.
This bird is an important part of our marine ecosystem, and it's important that it receive protections provided to it under the Endangered Species Act that we know are incredibly effective at protecting species. So the better the federal government does in terms of protecting the species, the greater our chances of seeing them in the wild and seeing them recover and continue to play their role in balancing our marine ecosystems.
Black-capped petrels were granted endangered species status as a result of a lawsuit filed by the Center for Biological Diversity. However, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has failed to enact any protections for these seabirds. The Center for Biological Diversity hopes to identify and protect critical habitat before the species faces extinction. For WMNF News, I'm Zoe Sachs.
A months-long hearing kicked off yesterday in a fierce licensure battle over a rare opportunity to join Florida's medical marijuana industry. The hearing is slated to run through mid-February. It comes nearly a year after Florida health regulators announced their intent to award medical marijuana licenses to 22 of dozens of applicants. Legal and administrative wrangling began almost immediately after the announcement, leaving 13 of the rejected applicants to participate in the hearing before an administrative law judge that began yesterday. The Florida Department of Health, along with nearly all of the companies selected for licensure, are also part of the complex administrative procedure involving hundreds of exhibits and days of witness and expert testimony. It'll be partly cloudy today, highs in the high 80s. Tonight, clear, overnight lows in the high 60s, and tomorrow, mostly sunny, highs in the high 80s. I'm Sean Kanahan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.